Hey everyone, and welcome to another joint Staci Kristina episode that is going out on both of our podcasts. Welcome, Staci.
Thanks, Kristina.
We have already recorded one. We are in Ottawa for the High Vibe Women Brunch, which Thrive Accounting sponsored. Thank you again, Staci. And we have so much fun when we go on these little trips. It's like just so soul filling. We spend like a few days together. We go to the spa. We went to an event yesterday. We're like doing the most. Stacey had a traumatic experience with Skip the Dishes, but we're working through it. That Caesar salad was never seen. It's still at the restaurant, we think.
He's still 8 hours later en route.
Yeah, that thing shows people's personalities, like when they don't get their Caesar salad from Skip the Dishes. But we're so excited today to talk about building relationships, a network. This has been so key for both of us in like growing our businesses, and something we both preach so much is like, as like hokey as it is, the like network is your net worth. But like we've both built like such referral-based businesses. Like we still obviously do marketing, things like this, social, blah blah. But like, yeah, we've built such great referral-based businesses. So pass to you.
Yeah, I think any great business will tell you that your relationships are the most important. Like, no shame to marketing, because I think that's what gets you out to the masses. But without great relationships, like you don't maybe get the PR contact, or I'm thinking so many product-based business owners, like they have a great networking group, some of the ones we work with, and they're referring accountants and they're referring their IP lawyers, and they're like, oh, have you met this person for shipping, and like all sorts of things, right? And those relationships have a massive impact on your business.
Yes, 100%.
And so when we said we were going to sit down and podcast, I was like, I think we need to talk about this, because you and I build, I think, a lot of our relationships in person, but there's been times where we built them online, and there's like so much contrast in that. And then, going back to the network is your net worth. When we're looking at building relationships, like you're an extrovert, I'm an introvert. I think people are looking like, well, okay, I'm supposed to build my network, but how do I do that even? And do I come, like, if you're in a stage of fear, it's like, do you come at it with desperation? Like, I need to be a friend. Nobody wants to be my friend. Like, or on the contrast of like, it feels like icky to go into that room wanting something instead of giving. Like, I'm a giver, you're a giver, right?
Totally.
And so I just wanted, I think we've both done this very successfully in very different ways. And I wanted to talk about it. Like, how do you approach it in a way that feels good? What advice would you give to somebody looking to build their network?
Yeah, I love that question. Yes, because I think that's something that from the beginning, I know when you built your first accounting firm, was that like a priority of yours as well, like networking?
It wasn't to begin with. Like, I started with a Kijiji ad in my basement. I was like, I know how to help people. I wrote out the ad, and then I started making connections.
Dude, you need to talk about that more. That's such a great like marketing line. I started with a Kijiji ad in my basement, and then you grew like, your little 7-figure empire that you sold.
Yeah. But I quickly learned that, like, I remember going to my first, so I built a very in-person, like, local business. I lived in the middle of the woods kind of thing. So it was hyper local, but it became really fun when I made network in my community. Like, that's actually, I remember feeling like I just provided a service to people before, a great service. People were happy. But like when I started networking, it felt more legitimate.
Yes, totally. That's actually something Maria and I talk about all the time, is how fun business is. Nod to our friend Andrea Parker, but like how we don't want it if we don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that has always been, we have almost priority talking like this, but sometimes we prioritize fun over profit in a way, right? Where it's been like her whole body just like 10 step.
No, I'm that way too.
Yeah. She sees our books. She knows what's going on. I won't tell you guys my latest, what we should do an episode one time, but I'd have to prep you for it in advance of like, and I know it's nuanced, but it's like craziest things people have asked to write off. Like, cause it's like, every once in a while I message Staci, I'm like, this is a wild card, like question for you. And sometimes it's fine. But we've always kind of prioritized fun of like, doing masterminds, being in community, going to events, things like that, right? Like we're still in a season where Maria and I want to make more personal wealth, right, than we do in our, business. And so, but an event will come up and we're like, we actually think that's going to be an amazing opportunity. And it's also like in a sick location, or it's going to be like the people, that person brings together great people. Like, I think that's going to be an amazing, not only business opportunity, but like connection opportunity. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good for our personal brands. Like we kind of put all of those things in the bucket of like making choices. And I think when we started our business, we've always been so relationship oriented, and we started in COVID, right? So everything was kind of online. Like, Maria and I would go to things and we'd be wearing masks. Like, it was like a different time. And now we just see like how much it matters when people see you. We see an uptick in our business. Like, we see an uptick when we go to events. We see an uptick when, we do a lot of networking calls. Like, and so that's carried us in like dark seasons of business where it's like, every year I'm waiting for it, but like a month or two where we lose like 5 or 6 clients in one go. It's something happens in the news immediately right after. People are like, I'm done with marketing, or I'm closing my business down. Like, that's usually like what ends up happening. And every time that happens, we're always like, will we ever get another client? Oh my goodness, will we ever, like, how, I don't have anybody in the pipeline. Who am I going to like get in there? And it's our network that carries us through that. It's the people who I can call to be like, you get these calls from me. I'm like, wrapping it up, Staci. Like, there's no other clients coming. You're like, other clients are coming. Like, it's gonna be fine, right? So it's a balance. So I think anyone listening to this, I think a network is not only key for you being able to grow your business, but also to survive in business and like for your sanity.
Yeah. I want to dive into something you said in there that I think is really important. You mentioned, I think the words you said were, this person brings together really good people.
Yeah.
And so I think that, one, the integrity of the person that's running a in-person group is really important. But you and I both believe, and this was a really big change for me, because at the start it was kind of like the celebrity of people. I was like, oh, I want to go, like, maybe I'll get a chance to meet that person. And we almost like idolize somebody.
Yep.
But it's the people in the room that really are, like, that's who your network is now, right?
100%. I talked about this actually when I was on Earn Your Happy the last time I was on it, was that like I don't know why I had an innate feeling about this, but I turned out to be right, is that like I have never felt the need to impress or network with the like leaders of a room. It has always been about the people I'm on the come up with. So it's always been like, I use those people to see who they attract because they must be like-minded to me. And then the people I pour into are the people who are like in there. So even like I think about Chris and Lori, which actually is kind of how we met, not quite, but like you did the second round of Fast Foundations. I was already in it. And you came in, I think, through Laura, right?
Yeah.
Sinclair. And I actually joined because I had done the online Fast Foundation. So I was like, I'm a lifer. It grew our business so fast, right? We scaled to 300K and then to 500K, right? Like from there. And I still credit Fast Foundations. Like we track our referrals, and Fast Foundations is still a massive one. Years later, so I've like more than made the money. But we were both probably kind of attracted to Chris and Lori, right? And like their energy. And so I know Chris and Lori bring together amazing people. So many of my best like online in-person friends like have come from that, right? And so, but I didn't go in there being like, wow, I hope I become friends with Chris and Lori. I went in there being like, wow, I hope that like the people who I'm around, that's kind of a slam dunk.
Yeah, see, that's really interesting, because I remember a time where I was looking at like, oh, those people.
I think that's normal.
And yeah, but I think it was because like I'm not looking at like, okay, I want to be new, right? I was looking at like, this is where I want to be. So I want to know what they know, like, and I'm interested in that. And like, I'm going to say this, I may take some flack for this, but like not everybody in the room is going to be your person, your network. I'm going to say
the same thing. I want to ditto that.
Went to rooms and been like, this person will probably never be somebody I'm going to do business with or friendship with, right? And so I kind of saw that to begin with. I'm an introvert and I'm like, oh, I want to get to this place. But I think it's one of those things, it's like kind of like dating. It's like you got to put yourself out there. Yeah. And you have to meet some people. Like if you're living in a vacuum, you're not going to find that perfect relationship. You only do it by introducing yourself. And like you get better. Like there's so many ways you can justify it too, right? Like you get better at introducing yourself. You get more clear on what you serve, like the pitch, and you hear other people when you introduce yourself. And I'm an accountant. Instantly, somebody's like, "Oh, let me tell you about my accounting woes,"
Yeah.
and that is feedback from me that I can use in my marketing because I'm like,
Yep.
"Oh, that thing that you complained about resonates with me." So there's so many things beyond looking at, like, we'll just use Chris and Lori, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, they might have been in a place that I wanted to be, but beyond that, I'm like, oh, there's even just value of just showing up, not even necessarily in the relationships in the room, but I really shifted my focus on like, wow, like there's going to be some gold here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm interested. Now, how do you approach introducing yourself, like creating the relationships with the people in the room, right? So if you're not going to meet Chris and Lori, how did you approach it?
Yeah, early on, I would say, and we've talked about this before, I think on our pods, is like I really was like a heart of service. I think I still am. I think I had more steam then, right? Like I'm a new mom. I'm so tired. I can only serve so many people. Mostly Jack is number one priority. But I really, so when I was in that online mastermind, we did like probably 100 calls where we gave free advice with no expectation back. We were just looking to build our network. And it was exactly what you said. We would get on calls, we'd listen to people talk about social media, we'd give them advice, and then we'd leave and we'd be like, that was interesting that that's actually the problem that they had. Oh, that's fascinating. They didn't know about this. The things that come naturally to us don't come naturally to everybody. And we forget that, right? We forget that like our gifts are actually what make us what are like what's great, right? And I think you even had a bit of like we use the word identity crisis lightly, but like
Oh, yeah.
post, selling your accounting firm. And then, even when you and I met, I remember I wrote down what you did and I was like, I actually am not totally sure like what it is that she sells, but like, that's fine. She's cool. And then we got to know each other. And over time you were like, I think I'm actually going to restart an accounting firm because actually like, it's easy. I like to you, right? Like this is like the way your brain works. You love to serve people in that way. You love to talk about money. Like, you love to show people what's possible. Like but that's not everybody's gift. And so I think what we did was we just like really leaned into that. And so I still do that, right? Like I'll go into a room, I'll meet people. If I think that they've got like podcast potential, I'll ask them, like, have you ever thought about starting a podcast? And people will be like, yeah. And I'm like, you should. Like, I think this would be interesting. And I give free value.
But also, like, you told me to start a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we're literally here today.
Yeah.
But
it was a win.
you're not like, it has to be with us. Let me show you my like pitch deck. You're just like, hey, I think you're really great at this. And
Yes.
I think you have potential. Let me give you some free advice.
One of my original clients, I guess like probably 2 years in, it feels like original, but I met her at Blueprint, which is the Create and Cultivate Mastermind. And her and I met her and I literally was like, you're so cool. And like, she's so well spoken. And I was like, have you ever thought about a podcast? She's like, no, but like, tell me more. I like poured into her over dinner. We leave. She's like, listen, I'm going to do the launch with you because you know what you're doing. I have editors. I have a video team. Like, are you good with that? I'm like, for sure. She's a huge podcast, like in Africa, like now, like it's like massive. She's an American that lives in Africa. She's incredible. And, she is a massive podcast. And, but I planted the seed for her and she still credits me to this day. Like still to this day on Threads, she posts about me, like all that stuff. I didn't actually care that she didn't do it with us. Like it was never about that. I wanted to help her with the launch. I wanted to see her be successful. I even said to her, I'm like, don't hire us. I'm happy to just like voice note you and send you like ideas. She's like, no, I respect your time. Like I'm going to pay you for it. Like, there was a really good, we had a great exchange. Like it felt really, really good. So I was really happy about that. But I think like, it doesn't have to be like, I really am just of service. Like I just want to like have conversations and you never know where things are going to lead, right? Someone might have an in-house video team, but then their connection might not and might need somebody. And we're the first person that they think of. And that's amazing. Right. And so, I really just, I think leaning into service.
Yeah. I was going to say like a little bit if, you're going into a room networking, feeling like you need to accomplish something. It's like more like ground yourself.
Yeah.
Like there is no emergency right now. You're just interested in creating relationships. I'm open to what's happening.
You cannot go into these rooms and expect return immediately. And if you go in, people sense that instantly, right? Like I remember I went to an event, which is actually part of like why Have a Woman started, was I went to an event in Canada and the women were like obsessed with giving out their business cards. It was like, there was probably 60 women in there. I left with 59 business cards. Like it was nuts. There's nothing wrong with business cards. I have no problem with it. I have business cards. Like it's not an issue, but it was the way it was done. then the constant follow-up via text message. Do you have any referrals for me? I'm like, this isn't a B&I group. Like, I'm like, I came here for lunch. Like, this is crazy. And I really wanted to be of service to these women, but they had taker energy. So immediately I didn't want to give too much, not from a capacity place.
But when they give the take energy, it's like, also I'm like, okay, so I'm going to send you like my friends, my clients, like people who mean something to me, and you're going to take and exploit them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's been times where people have asked me for referrals for stuff. And I'm like, oh, I actually can't give a referral because you're so annoying that I'm like, I could not do that to somebody. Like the amount of times you message me, like, I'm going to do that to you. Like, no, I'm not. Like, or if like I have a bad podcast guest, someone who's not like, and then at the end they go, do you have any referrals? It's like, no, I don't. Right. Like, but when people show up and they show up in service and they're great, then like you actually like, I want to shout their name from the rooftops.
I remember having one of these conversations. It's a moment that I like when I look back on it, I'm really proud of, because I was new-ish in business. I had an in-person business, and I remember this wealth consultant approached me. They were pretty big in town. They did events, and they're like, I want to use you exclusively for accounting, and you need to send me referrals. And so that relationship, like, we want to use you exclusively, it felt good to me. Like, it felt, maybe that's a little ego, but it was like, oh yeah, like partnership, the security that having that referral source would have brought felt great. And instantly I looked at it and I was like, I don't know that I can deliver on that, first of all, because sometimes referral sources, like, the flow is not equal.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I just don't have as many people asking me for your service as you have asking for mine.
Yeah.
So one, I was like, that's out of integrity. But also I'm like, I just don't know. I didn't know them. I was like, I'm willing to use you. Like, you sound knowledgeable, but I turned it down. I said, I'm really sorry. I'm not willing to get into that relationship. I don't want to feel like I have a minimum that I owe you.
Yeah.
I won't serve your people well.
Yeah.
If I do that.
You have to do what's right for you. Like, I've never done things like that either. Like, where it's like mandatory. I have to feel like it's a good energy exchange. I do think that that's a piece of the relationship pie. Like, that's really big. And it is the way that people do business, right? Like, it's the truth of it. It's, you do want to give more referrals so people give you referrals, right? Like that. There's people out there who like are constantly referring to me, and I'm like, okay, so then when I need to make a referral, they're top of mind for me. Like, I'm like, okay, like 100%. Then there's people who I've given a ton of referrals to who haven't done anything back. Maybe they don't get the ask, but they also serve in other ways. You are a bit of an example of this, not a criticism, but in a way, you don't get as many people asking you about social and podcasting as I do people telling me about money woes, right? Especially because of my community, like because of High Vibe Women. So people will always say, oh, I'm really, like, we do our Q&A calls. You're like our resident, like, we ask all the questions. We're like, to help, like, right? Like, it's like, so, like, I think, we try so hard to kind of promote each other. There's other accountants in the group. Like, it's all like what fits well for people. But what I will say, which is so interesting, is that then you serve us in so many other ways. You know what I mean? Where it does feel like an equal energy exchange. I never once am like, oh, I give her so many referrals. Like, it's never the feeling. And you do every time someone, like, you can. But it's like, you're like such a promoter of High Vibe Women. You sponsor our events. Like, you show up because you see that.
You're like, I'm holding an event, and I'm like, send me an invoice.
I know, every time I'm like, hi. But it's just like, you find other ways to add value. So I actually think that that's the same for me as well, where there are people who I get like tons of referrals from, tons of connections from. So I go out of my way to try to add value to them in any way I can, right? Even if it's not the like, oh, the traditional, like, I have a referral for them. I'm not going to find, that's actually the worst thing you can do is like be like, someone mentions a podcast. You're like, oh, I'm gonna make that connection. So it looks like I'm making a connection. And then that person doesn't actually want a podcast. And then it's actually not a good like kind of fit. Mm-hmm. But what I would say is like, I'll go out of my way looking for stuff for that person. And if not, I'm going to look for other ways I can support them. Sharing their podcast, making a great intro, doing whatever I can, right?
Yeah. And like coming back to the basics of it is all of these relationships that you have built, the energy exchange is cyclical, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
money, whether it's referrals, whether it's just different connections. Like yesterday we were in an event and you said to somebody like, oh, I need a PR connection.
Yeah.
But that relationship was built on like providing value. You're always looking at how do I provide value? And you're creating relationships with people who have that same mindset that are like, how do I create value back?
Yeah.
I mean, not all of them. Like some of them you are a miss, but
And you have to like kiss some frogs, right? Sometimes you're going to go first with people that don't deserve it.
yeah.
Like, and then afterwards you're gonna be like, well, noted, right? Like, and I'm someone who I think I have a really good network. Like, I'm very
Yeah.
proud of like the people I know and like how I cultivate those relationships. And I'm careful with my asks. And like, so when I need something, people usually do rally for me, which I'm very grateful for. But that example yesterday is a great one. This is somebody who I have like kind of a good connection with. We don't know each other super well. They needed a connection. I was happy to make it. It was actually a huge win-win for both of the people. Like, they ended up sponsoring an event for a friend that runs events. It was a perfect match, like 10 out of 10. And then when we saw each other, I had no problem saying to her, hey, this is actually something I'm struggling with. Do you know anybody that does this? And she was like, everybody. Like, I know everybody. Let me make it happen for you. She shot off some emails. Some stuff's happening right now, right? But like, I wasn't waiting for it wasn't like, oh, I need something, you need something, whatever. But I felt more comfortable being like, hey, I'm actually struggling with this thing. I have no expectation. I'm not asking you for an intro, right?
Yeah. Okay, the two things that come to mind though are one, you make time for this. You know how important your network is and you make time for it.
Yeah.
So I think there's like some great concepts of like how you keep in touch and like which relationships you pour the most effort into and stuff because at some point you can't pour. Actually, let's dive into that. You can't pour like
No.
there's not enough gas to pour on all of it.
Yeah. That's a tough one. I hate this concept, but it's like, because it's hard. It's hard to know. And we've all wasted time in relationships, right? Maria and I laugh because when we first started our business, there was another agency that we spent a lot of time kind of like courting and befriending. And because they were going to white label us and they basically promised to blow our business up. Like they were like, it's like a done deal. We're going to give you about $75,000 a month of work. Like, so let's go. We were making $6,000 a month. So this felt pretty big. And so we were all in. We were driving everywhere. We were doing the things. We're going to the meetings. We're doing all the things. I don't think that agency, I don't know that they're actually still in business. And also, I don't know that they ever made $75,000 a month. So like now looking back, I'm like a little like red flag. But, that was probably not where we needed to pour the energy. So now I really look at that like concept of like the equal energy exchange. Like where can I pour in and someone pour back a little? How do we make that connection? That's really what I think about is like, where is there like kind of an equal spot? This is a really tough one for me. I will say, Staci, because it's like, I love people. I know you do too. You and I have the same heart. So it's like, it's really hard for me when people DM me and then I'm kind of like, come join my online community if you want advice. Like join the High Vibe Women community. Like, but I just can't answer all the DMs and coach for free forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think like this is such a soft skill, and this is where, like, you know, for somebody who can be so strategic, like this is the gut check,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, how do you feel when you're doing business with them? Like, it's not. Even you and I both turn away relationships where somebody might have great connections and we're like, I just don't really like them as a person.
Totally. And we've both had gut instincts about people because not everything's how it seems, guys. Like,
oh my God, most of it's not how it
yeah.
seems.
And so there have been times I've built relationships with people and I'm like, this is going to be massive. They've got such a good network. And then recently I met someone and I was like, oh, that was a very nice interaction. And then I went to a mutual friend. And I said, oh my goodness, like I met this person and they were like, oh yeah, she's an absolute monster. And I was like, oh my God, like I didn't see that coming. But also I need to discern for myself whether that's the truth, right? Like I had a great experience, so I'm actually just going to lean into that. But like people, you get reputations. Like I just think, and I also think, and we talked about this a bit in the car. This is like a bit of a side tangent, guys. I think as women, we prioritize relationships so much. It's like our nature, right? Like it's like we know when women sell businesses, they put back in their community. When women are building, they put it back in their community. And so I think like there is a high regard for women building relationships. I think as women, when people aren't willing to build a relationship with us, or people like set a boundary with us, it's really easy for us to be like that's a bitch. That's a bad woman. And so it's interesting this past year when, like, I would say, we had our I don't know my numbers yet from last year because I've been bad with my my accounting, as your team so gracefully emails me every week. There are the guys. If you guys need accounting, Thrive Accounting is the people you need to go to. But I can't promise they'll email you every week. That's not a service that I think you should be providing. But
That's a standard. It actually is.
I feel so bad. I'm always like, hi, Erin, again. But we had our highest revenue year last year, and that I'm pretty confident in. And I, took part of the year off. So I had like huge boundaries around my time. I was pregnant for most of the year. So I was dead inside. The life had left my body and was growing in my body at the same time. And it was the first year I'd ever gotten feedback that people thought I was cold. And I literally, I was like, what do you mean cold? Like, I'm like literally a human golden retriever. Like, there's no colds. Like, I've never had that feedback in my life more than once. And I was like, oh, I've set a bit of a boundary and people don't like that.
Yeah.
And that sucks. And also, I'm now in a season where it's like, I don't have the same time I did to do everything for everybody. So it's like, do I do more for the people that are in my inner circle? Of course. Like, everybody does. But because I had set this like standard of being so available, people don't like that I set that standard. And so it's really interesting because it's been such an evolution for me as a relationship builder, as a community builder, of like, I still have the heart for like most people. I still want to talk to people, but I also get tired. I also get burnt out. I'm also like in a season where I don't have childcare. Like, like it's all of these things. And so I don't know. It's just been an interesting thing because I think building a relationship, it's very nuanced.
See, okay, one of the things that's coming to mind for me is that when I hear people be like, oh, that person's a bitch.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think to myself, like, maybe you should have reflected on this for like half a heartbeat before you open your mouth, because it reflects on people when they say something about others. And I'm all for speaking the truth. Like, but I think that there's a level of like, why do I feel this way? Is it about me? Is it because I feel that distance and I really wanted to be closer to them? Right. And like any reflection on that. And there's a difference. Like, you can tell when somebody's like, well, that person's a bitch, versus, yeah, I didn't have a great experience with them. Like, I tried really hard to connect and they just weren't open.
Yeah.
Like the vibe that comes off of that is so different.
Totally. And I actually really have worked on it the last few years. So obviously you have your close friends. Like, it's like us, like, we have a few friends where we can go to and be like, hey, I had this weird interaction. It made me feel bad. Like, didn't love that, or like whatever. But what's interesting is I have a lot of really high vibe friends. So like that reframe everything. Like, I'm like, that was bad. And they like need to reframe it. I'm like, I understand this is for my highest purpose. Doesn't feel like it right now. Like, I need a minute to be sad.
Yes.
And so it's funny because I had an interaction with someone who's like decently well known, and it was negative. And I was like, everyone loves this person. And I have had now 2 interactions where like it was kind of the ick for me, but also like a few things happened. And I was like, okay, I've basically written this person off. And this person's kind of interested in being in my world. I'm less interested in them being in my world, like kind of thing. Like, we're like kind of dancing. And so I said something to a friend of mine, and I was like, because we were talking basically about how, and this is an interesting thing about building relationships, the more audience you have, the more opportunity you have to give to others, hard to know what's genuine. And I learned that a lot from Lori. Like, Lori and I have talked about that many times, where it's like when you've got a stage, Marina's the most with this. Like, you have a stage to put people on, people are running. And then your stage is gone and people, the running stops a bit, right? Or you can't give them the opportunity they wanted, or you didn't do things in the way they wanted you to do them. It changes the relationship. Not all of them, but some of them. And so this person wanted to speak at women. I had a few weird interactions with them, so I'm kind of on the fence about it. It's not a no, but it's like a little bit of a And I mentioned to my friend, I said, this person came up, I said, I had a weird experience with them. So like, they're not for me. And she was like, she really reframed it, but reframed it in a way of like, that person behaves in this weird way because they've been so burned. And they do that because they like protect themselves. I was like, oh, this person was standoffish with me, and then they found out at an event and they were more into me, and that really like kind of turned me off. And she was like, yeah. I think what she's doing is like just keeping a little bit of a distance because she's been burned so many times. And like that, I know them and they have a heart of gold. And I was like, well, if you think that, and I trust you, it's done. Like I feel good about it, right? So I think one of the things that's really important with relationships is being okay with letting your mind get changed. Like because sometimes I have a strong intuition on people. I always have my whole life where I'll meet someone and I'm like literally like I'm like other people don't see it yet, but I see it. Like I'm like that's not it. And also someone who's like a little bit of a diamond in the rough, I see the potential. And like I've always been like that. So it's like, but I'm also always okay with someone saying to me like you're wrong on that person because I've had a really good experience. And if I trust that person, I can change my mind. But you also can't give people too many chances. That's another thing.
I think the other thing that you and I have talked about is sometimes like just because so there might be people that you're not like, oh, this is a slam dunk. Like we're new besties. But it's like, I just need to know where I stand.
Yeah.
Right? Where we're like, oh, this person, something that they do rubs me the wrong way. Not in a way that's like, I don't want to know you, in a way that's like, that's not how I would do it. But when you know where you stand, you're like, okay, you can do business with them, but you need to know they operate this way, which is not my MO, but it's theirs, and you can still do business together.
100%, and be friends. Like even like I laugh about Marina. Like Marina and I have been friends now, for 4 years. Like, and I knew Marina. You and I both knew Marina quite well pre-Fast Foundation or pre-Create and Cultivate, and we were in a mastermind together. So I was there when Marina was buying Create and Cultivate. Like not like in the physical room, but like part of the like the background of loving her and supporting her. And I think what's so interesting about Marina is like she is so direct. Americans are typically more direct than Canadians. Like so that's why Staci only works with Canadians. She's just like she's cut it off, guys. But and I remember Marina when we were working on her old podcast, we work on her new one, but she sent us an email that was like in all bold. And my team was like in a full spiral. Like they were like, there was like a bold, it wasn't all bold, it was a bold sentence. And I call Marina because I'm like a relationship manager. And I'm like, hey, Marina, like you bolded this. We've never come across this issue before. Like, is this a problem? She's like, no, I just wanted to tell you that is something I'd like for you to prioritize. I was like, I don't even know if Canadians have the bold feature. Like we just don't do this to each other. But we were laughing because otherwise your team would be said to be all bold emails. But we were laughing because I know working with Marina is just working with someone who's direct. Doesn't mean we can't work together. Doesn't mean I don't love her. She's one of my little business besties and she's the best. And I just know she's just direct, right? And so I think sometimes that's a reminder to us that like people can do business differently than us and still like, be amazing and still be like great friends and whatever. It's just us finding that like balance. And you want to do business with people that you love doing business with. And that's something that I think relationship wise, I actually don't go into these rooms or anything like being like, oh, I hope I get some clients. Like, do clients come out of everything? Like, yes. Like, I can't deny it. I'm very lucky, and I put in a lot of like work into it. But like, there are people I'll meet, and I'm like, I actually don't want to do business with that person. Mm-hmm. Like, and that just isn't like from an integrity standpoint, I don't think we're there. From a relationship standpoint, I don't think it's gonna get there. I think they're gonna be hard on our team. Like, and it's probably just not worth it. Not all money is good money.
Mm-hmm. So we've talked a lot about like the foundation of relationships, how to have great relationships. I think one of the things that holds people back is like that first interaction. Mm-hmm. And so do you have some tips? Because I actually I love how we met, but do you have some tips for people on how to just start meeting the people in the room? Like not go into it and just fit in with the wallpaper.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people, and I've actually been in seasons like this too, and I think you probably have too, where like you go to an event and you're on your A game, and then you like leave and you're kind of like,
I'm just laughing. Oh, this is my cycle every single time I leave the house.
Yeah,
and I'm like, listen, guys, I'm not well.
I know there's a lot of women listen to this podcast, but we both of us have been talking about this like for the weekend because it's like it does really impact.
It impacts like your brain.
Yeah. Staci and I, whenever we hang out, it's always on a certain part of her cycle, and there's always at least one tear. Yeah. You didn't cry over Skip the Dishes yesterday, but if that had happened in a different part of your cycle, you would have lost it. It would have been out of control. Not brought to you by Skip the Dishes. This podcast is not brought to you by Skip the Dishes. So yeah, I would say the things that you should do. So one, I think just focus on meeting one person. Like that's a huge piece. Is that don't go in being like there's 150 people or 200 people at this event, and now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try to like, make 200 connections. You're just not, right? So, for example, I went to an event in Miami. There were about like 40 women there. I probably made 4 really good connections. One of them happened at the dinner after. Like it's just I really just try to meet one person and go kind of deep with that one person. That's really like my thing. Maybe 2 or 3, depending on how long the event is. I try to meet people in advance of an event if I don't know anybody. So I try to suss out like who's going. Sometimes, depending on the event, you could message an event host in advance and say, hey, curious, like if you could maybe like intro me to someone. Do you know somebody who's going? Or like if you have a friend of a friend who's going, just asking for that warm intro. It's actually funny for our retreat that's coming up in May. One of the women who was coming was like, I would love to just like meet somebody. I'm so nervous. I'm like, no problem. I put them in a chat of someone who's been and who's coming again. And she messaged me. She goes, did you put us in this chat because we're both British? I was like, no, I actually, that you're the only 2 British people I know, and I didn't even make the connection on that, but it was just funny. But like, yeah, I'm just so happy to like make those connections for people. So I think lots of event hosts are too. But yeah, just focus on the one relationship, and then the fortunes and the follow-up. So what I would do is I would, was a hack that I did in Fast Foundations. The room has to be a certain size for you to be able to like maintain this kind of mental stamina. But like when I heard that people needed something, I wrote it down. So if you had gone up there and you were like, I'm looking for a new website, I'd be like, amazing. I would write your name down and I'd go up to you later and I'd be like, Staci, you mentioned like you needed a website. Like I would love to like intro you to somebody. Like, and I'm actually networking for my network. So I'm happy to like make those connections. So even Carly's a great example of this. But I went to a founders club event the other day and like there were a few people who needed websites. I was like, this is done. I know who you should work with, right? So I made a few intros for Carly. I know other web designers. Sometimes it's for them, right? Like it really just depends on the situation. So I think focusing on one like person, 2 people, trying to make a plan maybe before it, after it, and then I would say the other piece is just like the follow up, like making sure. What about for you, especially as an introvert?
Yeah. So what I've learned along the way is the biggest thing was stop making it about yourself. Like if you're coming at it from service and that's what you want to serve, like you're going to have to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
If you're so focused on like, I'm an introvert, like you're not going to do well there.
Yep.
And like, I really am like service oriented. So I was like, okay, like just go in. Another thing, like be more interested than interesting.
Yeah.
Like when you're so focused on like, okay, like how am I going to get something from this or trying to prove yourself, like it doesn't work well, right? Like you're so focused internally. So those 2, I was like, there's a great book. It's called Alter Ego Effect. And it just talks about like our brain chemistry and how you can actually like program your brain to be somebody different.
Love that.
And so I've used that to be like, I actually love connecting with people. I just do it differently than you. But I'm like, okay, so I show up as somebody different in the room. Not the same as the person in the sweatpants on the couch, like doing taxes, right? So I get myself prepared for that. I'm like, I'm going to show up as somebody different. I'm going to genuinely be interested because that fills my service need. And then it's be more interested than interesting. Like you don't have to prove anything. You just have to ask questions and like, just keep going with the questions. There are a couple great books also. Like Vanessa Van Edwards has a book. It's called there's Captivate. And it has like literally if you need like a concept, if you're the type of person who's like you need directions, it's a great book. And it talks about like go stand by the food.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's something there. Or if you have a couple anchor questions that you're like, oh, this always brings out the best in people. Like what got you started in your business?
Yes.
Right? Like people love to talk about those things. And if you have a couple anchor questions to start connecting with somebody, I think that can be really important to help you get out of your head. Totally. But the couple things that I learned from you is always the connecting ahead of time, whether it's like, oh, I'm going to be at dinner, the night before, like I have nobody to have dinner with. Like, is there somebody I can meet?
Yeah.
Connecting with the host and just saying, is there anybody in the room you think I should connect with? Like, I don't really know anybody. Calling out that, hey, I don't know anybody here. Like if you're done talking to somebody, is there anybody like, who do you think is really cool in this room? Looks like you know a lot of these people. Right? Just like saying your insecurities.
Yeah, even like someone, a mutual connection of ours, Anna Lozano. So she's so funny because she's like such a networker, and I think you had her on our podcast, on your podcast. I just had her on mine. So I'll link the episodes in the show notes. But it's funny because one of the things she joins Founders Club. I refer her in, I nominate her in. She joins Founders Club, and she like immediately is like, hey guys, I'm going to High Vibe Women, like promoting my event. I'm like, oh great. Then she's like, I'm going to host a dinner the night before. Who wants to join me for dinner? This is where the dinner will be. And all these people are like, I'll come. I'm in. Like, great. She's like, see you guys at the Isabel. Like, this is the time. Like, whatever. And I remember being like, ooh, like, that's so interesting that like, she just did that with such like, I always say she had like balls, like, but like the woman version of this. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like insane. But that's so great, right? Like she's going first. And I think there is something to being the host as well, right? You don't need to like host pop-ups around people's events or anything like that. But being like, hey, I'm going to make a reservation for a few people. I'd love for you to join. It's like, how many times have I done that around an event where I'm like, hey, I only know a few people coming, but if anyone wants to join, like just come for dinner. And it's a great way for us to get to know each other.
Yeah. Okay. You said the follow-up too. And I think this is really important is you can't just decide to do 7,000 coffee chats after, right? I think it's like having a genuine connection in some way.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's just some DMs afterwards, like a voice note of like, hey, I really love how you talked about this. It really stuck out to me. Or like whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, you needed this. Like, let me make an introduction for you. But they have to be genuine. When you're just asking for coffee chats, it's like that take energy.
100%. And eventually you get to a point that, guys, if you are early teaching business, I'm telling you to do this because I've missed the ball on this boat. Oh yeah, I missed the boat on this. Make a CRM of all the people you meet and what they do. Like put something together that has like, I've missed the boat on this hard, and
it's because you think you don't need it.
Yes, and then you get to a certain stage in business where you need it, right? Where like yesterday I met someone and she was like, "We did a coffee chat a few years ago," and I'm like, gun to my head, if you ask me what, and I have a great memory. Like I have a great memory. I've always like when I used to be a Dawn and RA, I used to like know there would be 280 people in residence. I would know their names by like the second week. Like I'm like so good at that kind of stuff. These things have now escaped my brain. Age, motherhood.
Yeah.
Lots going on, right? And so I don't have the capacity I used to. And so now I don't remember anything. And so I'm like, okay, I need, and this is something I'm going to be working on shortly, is a CRM with all the people that like I've met, going through what they do, what kind of referrals they're looking for, like what's important to them. Because even for example, like when you're networking, guys, like one of the other things is like, I love to find wins for people. I love it. It's such a great way to build trust. Like, and not in a manipulative way, but like in a, like, I'm going to show you what I'm about fast. And so I always ask people, what are you looking for right now? People are like, I'm looking for X. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. If I can make that happen for someone fast, I'm so happy to. So even yesterday, I just saw that there was a pop-up at Revolution Her, which is a new connection of mine. They have an amazing all-female branded store in Mapleview in Burlington. And when I met with them, I said, what's a slam dunk collaboration for you? They're like, looking for new Canadian female-owned products. I'm like, okay. I'm like, who do you have? They sent me the list. I'm like, do you have Beck's Broth? They're like, no. Well, I know Beck's Broth. Who I had on my podcast. Her goal is to be in more retailers. I made a connection. Now they're doing a pop-up together. Slam dunk, right? Like, that's so great. I'm looking for those types of opportunities for people. So it would have been really nice for me to be able to be like, oh, they're like, I meet you. You're looking for some podcast guests. I go through, I'm like, these people want to be on podcasts. Who do you want an intro to, right? Like, that's like, so anyway, guys, create a CRM. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah, I love that. Do you have anything else to share on creating network and relationships?
I think my last piece, and I know this is something you and I both are so passionate about, is like being like a woman of your word and like being in integrity on these things. Like if you offer to do something for somebody, do it with like a open heart that it's something you actually want to do and that you're like excited about doing. Don't offer things you're not going to do. This happens to me all the time. People like, I don't know if they just like respond to my energy and then they want to like offer something because I've offered something, but like really just being somebody who like stands by what it is that you're going to do. And I also be protective of your network. I'm super protective of my network. I've had people ask to meet you. I've had people ask to meet mentors of mine. If I don't think it's a fit at that time, or I know what your goals are, I have no problem being like, no, it's not a fit right now. Or you want to get in this person's world. This is how I would do it. So yeah, that's kind of my last tips. Any last tips for you?
I think it is, if you come at this, like, I witness so many people who are, what I would say is like in need of network, or they're looking for network. And the two biggest things really are or I guess the one big thing is the mindset that you're coming to it with. And so if you're looking to make this a sprint and there's like that desperation, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be one of those things that develops over time. So it's like you have to settle in and be of more service than anything.
Yeah, love that. Okay, well, more episodes to come from me and Staci. We're going to record probably another one. In the last episode, we talked about creating a Kristina playlist. It might happen. Who knows? Maybe we'll start a DJ set. But Staci, so fun. So good to talk about this. And I know people are, as you're building your relationships, like this is like the tough work, like in life, but also in business. And so it can get messy, it can get sticky, but we know there's good stuff on the other side.
Yeah, amen.
So fun.